The teak cleaned up pretty well with plenty of sanding. I went over this with 80 and 120 grits. I used a palm sander wherever I could, any flat surface where it would fit, and then by hand everywhere else. This is the port quarter here. Top rail. I mean, the wood's not perfect. It's fairly old. Not sure what year this boat is, but it's not a new boat. And this teak has had some weather time, but it cleaned up quite well. The teak was fortunately quite smooth after I stripped it. And the weathering was pretty easy to sand off in most cases. There's going to be a little touch up here and there. Now that I've kind of gotten the dust off, can actually see things a little better. I'll go around and touch up anywhere that needs a little bit extra work. There's a few places like around these chain plates that I couldn't get in very well with the scraper. They'll need a little bit of extra work. But mostly it's there. Everything looks pretty good. The wood's nice and clean. No indelible dark spots or anything like that. Fortunately, it's teak. Teak is forgiving this way. It's one reason to use teak on your exterior. I'm pretty pleased with it. Should varnish up pretty well. And that'll be coming up in the near future. Had to do quite a bit of sanding in this spot right here where that funny little anchor roller had been installed. I think it was it had been kind of crushed down, so it took a lot of sanding to actually get that cleaned up as well as I could. Put some bungs in these holes before I varnish. Take a walk down the starboard side now. Again, anchor platform cleaned up pretty well. Most of this area is covered with the anchor roller, which I took off for this purpose. Considering what it looked like a couple days ago, I'd say it's improved. Little stove vent up there, this Dory box, these undefined brackets on the inside of the handrail there. I don't know what those are for. They're a little fussy. Handrails and eyebrow cleaned up well. Again, this is 80 and 100 grit, 80 and 120 grits. These areas around these long Genoa tracks were pretty much all hand sanding because this space is too narrow for a sanding block or a palm sander. And back to the stern. You can't see it behind that plastic, but I sanded the trim around the companionway. Sanded these two silly little trim pieces on the pedestal. The pedestal's another story for another day. Interior combings. A few things in the way, but you get the idea. Wood's basically clean and fresh, except for some spots that's just not going to come clean, or that has character in it that was darker to begin with.